Twitter versus Threads, mate. That's
Ah, gotta talk. Okay, so that's happened. So, Meta has recently released their new social media platform, and I actually heard this before it got released. Zuckerberg was doing a podcast with Lex Friedman, so he talked about it.
He talked about it there. Yeah,
he definitely talked about it.
A Twitter sort of competitor.
So this week, it got launched, and the question I've got to ask before we even get to the specifics is why? Why do we need another social media network? I thought we've already discussed how bad these things are. Like, why do we need another one? Tell me.
Zuckerberg tried to purchase Twitter in 2008, I believe.
Really?
And they rejected him. So ever since then, I believe he's been cooking up like a Twitter alternative, and I think he's just been holding off on it for the longest time.
Yeah.
Right. He's been holding off on it until the right time. And I believe, so right now there's with Musk taking over Twitter, and I think a lot of the problems with Twitter were before Musk. He inherited a lot of that as well.
That's correct.
And yeah, it's just like, I think he waited until people were like, oh, Twitter's getting kind of lame. And, there's all these competitors like Blue Sky, Mastodon, whatever.
Yep.
That were not really taken off, to be quite honest.
Yep.
In the way that Twitter initially took off. And he saw an opportunity there in the Instagram audience. So that's the crucial thing here, right? Through Threads, right?
Yeah.
It links straight away with your
Instagram, right?
With your Instagram.
So what happens if I don't have Instagram? Can't.
You can still
Really?
create an account. But like, I think the linking to Instagram is its USP. Because look at this, right? Social media is all about dopamine hits.
Yep.
You open up Threads for the first time, and it tells you, do you want to connect to your Instagram? You can get all these followers. And then people who haven't started on, as soon as they start, then they'll follow you and you follow them.
Well, you can import your followers.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And then you start away, and if they're already on there, then you've got and if they do the same thing as well, right? Which a lot of them have, where when this person joins, then I want to follow them.
Yep.
You can start, and you can imagine you have 10,000 followers on Instagram. You can start away with 10,000 followers.
Yep.
If they're all on there. And that gives you that instant dopamine hit that they will search you for in social media.
Well, if you can... Yeah.
I'm starting off, I already have 10,000 followers. That's insane.
I think
usually it takes time to build up social media followers, as we all know. It takes a while. You have to work on it for every platform.
Yeah.
But to start off and it's already at that, level, it's pretty good. And to be honest, how Twitter sort of become a cesspool for all this sort of crazy political talk that just people get turned off by.
Yep.
It's created a user that I think that, like me, I just watch what goes on Twitter. I rarely post.
Yeah.
It's like a news source for me. I just go through, okay, whatever.
Well, Twitter is news, right?
Threads, and I'm seeing more Threads, more people are feeling like they can just post. And I haven't seen anything really that, it's more fun. It just feels like, what the old forums used to feel like in a way. Where it wasn't that crazy sort of toxic sort of, place where everyone's just going off at each other. It just felt like it's a bunch of fun. We were just talking.
It's an interesting social experiment, right?
Yeah. And I think also the fact that it links to your Instagram, people behave differently on it.
On Instagram?
On Threads. It's because on the Instagram, that's your profile, right? That's you don't really see that much discourse on Instagram that you do on something like a Facebook or a Twitter.
Yeah.
And Twitter has had that problem, and Elon Musk has said it for a lot of time about bots and shit like that. And, all that sort of stuff. And I think Threads sort of fixes that problem. If it's linked to your Instagram, you do get less bots.
Yeah.
Right? But it's also... Yeah, I think it's a smart move. And what he's done with it, it might just be because it's starting off, he's kept it very simple.
Yeah.
That's on purpose. Twitter has a lot of these things like spaces, all these other buttons. He's just kept it very simple. People are liking how simple it is. And that's the same, mindset he took with Facebook when he was competing with MySpace.
Yeah.
Just keep it simple.
Yeah.
And that's what he's done is he's applied that same thing to Threads. And mate, it's what was it, 90 million users last time I checked?
It's pulled on pretty quick. And I think we've had social media for so long that, do you remember when you first got Facebook? I don't. Do you remember even when you got? We don't. So what I'm saying is now with this hyper awareness, it's interesting to see what people are talking about first time got it, and you're seeing a lot of the first. I was going to say tweet.
Yeah.
It's an amazing thread.
Thread, yeah.
I don't know. It's going to take a while though that one to catch on, but I'm here because Elon said. or what do I do here? Asking for a friend, like you know what I mean? Because like, if you think of like the major target market or age demographic for Instagram would be younger, right?
Yes.
And Facebook has moved to an older platform, right?
Well,
when's the last time you actually said something like how you used Facebook when you first got it, where you would diarize your whole life?
The status
went
updates.
out. But have you done that on Threads?
I've done that. I haven't done that yet, but I've seen a lot of people do it.
But so that's what you're saying, and I wonder.
But I feel like I want to. So
okay, but why
that's
though? What's different about it? Like, what have you done that sort of dialogue or that sort of engagement with Twitter when it first came out? And I'm wondering if that's the new shiny toy vibe or you're right. Because I actually saw an article, didn't read it, admittedly, and it was very stylized that Threads would bring back microblogging. Does Threads have, a word limit, character limit yet?
I haven't checked that actually.
I haven't heard of it. So let's say theoretically it doesn't, then yes. Maybe it can. Yeah. Would I want to read something like? I don't know.
Maybe, yeah.
I don't know, but it'd be interesting because it has to differentiate itself a little bit. And the thing about Twitter is, with a character limit, it did force you to tweet and get short and sharp. Yeah. So I mean, and that's, to be honest, where we're moving for. But I think there's that yearning to move back into long content versus short content, right? And what is that parameter? But it's interesting, and it's interesting. I can't remember when. For brands and a lot of brands, again,
I've seen a lot of brands on
of course
Threads.
Yeah, of course.
I've noticed
and
that.
It's because check this out, right? So when I first heard of Threads, I did not know about the integration with that, right? With Instagram. So what I wanted to do as a genius business idea is get all like names like try and sell it like URLs like in the old day. And then when I realized, God damn, Zuckerberg, you've already figured it out. Couldn't get it, but that's very smart. But like, it's interesting, right? Because now so many people are hyper aware on what to do with social media networks. And you remember the time when Coca-Cola, when was the first time you started to see it being mainstream to have like social media platforms on a brand's page, like Twitter and Instagram, right? Yeah. I'd be intrigued to see how quick Threads slaps on, right? Because it shouldn't be too long, to be honest. If you're a social media person, you'd be wanting to get on that bandwagon really quick.
Yes, and I've seen a lot of companies come on, right? And one thing I'm seeing that's a bit different from Twitter at the moment, I don't believe there's an algorithm yet for it. I'm seeing everything. I don't.
To be honest, I don't quite like that. But yes, I am seeing
that's the part I don't quite like, right? But it might even be because it's so new that it doesn't have time, hasn't had time yet to sort of have its algorithm play yet. Get it into like fully functioning algorithm. But that's the difference I see at the moment. In Twitter, like Twitter's got its algorithm set pretty well in that, like, if you've always looked at a certain subject, it will show more of those type of tweets, discovery. So that might be something at the moment that Zuckerberg needs to figure out. But I mean, they're early stages in their app. Only launched like last week.
The irony is, theoretically, they should already have an algorithm if they've linked it to Instagram. Your interests don't change. I actually think that that's happening because on my feed is like things that I haven't necessarily plussed and added, but I'm getting it, and it's showing it there. So, and they're all like there's stuff that I'd normally follow anyway. So they're definitely connecting.
It's linked to your Instagram,
and it's linked
definitely.
to Facebook still as well.
It still is.
They have all of that, right?
Yeah.
So it's about integrating that in a way that doesn't feel like, oh shit, this how are they getting all this data? But I
wonder how these guys are making money with this.
They're not at the moment
because there's nothing.
It's an engagement play. Like you can't straight away monetize it, but it's going to be interesting. And I think the play now is there is a lot of discourse in Twitter.
Yeah.
So that's it. That really is it for now, right? It's not about monetization. And I think you're right in that if you can get people to engage, ironically, in the way that they used to engage in Facebook, in terms of writing their diary, I'm in here enjoying this with my mate there. That's back in the ecosystem.
You know where I saw this, I guess, in its embryonic stage, is I guess, when you used to go on Instagram and then you check your messages and then at the top, you can see these little short messages like a status or something.
Yeah.
I feel like that is the embryonic stages of Threads.
Yeah.
And that they've moved a lot of that to
yeah.
there, and then that's where you just say all that.
Ironically, a lot of people talk on Instagram messages, right?
Yeah,
as well.
right.
Like
Yeah.
it's an odd one, but anyway, Elon versus Zuck.
Man, it's happening, man.
Zuck's got one. He struck
Like,
first.
He's smart.
He struck
He's struck first. But like, I mean, what Elon does with Twitter now, I mean, it is sink. It feels like a sinking ship. It hasn't completely synced, obviously, but what's his move?
I personally think Twitter is still the better interface. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, it's had there, but
It's been there for a while.
there's there's things that they've got to do. We'll see. Competition's a good thing
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
consumer. Competition is a good thing.
But it is starting to also bring up like the fact that like, man, there's a lot of social media.
There's a lot. Do we
There's a
need
lot,
like
and
think about it, right? For us, when we chop up this, we're not even on Twitter engaging that much when we probably should be, right?
Yeah.
I don't need an additional social media. No, it's so much. It's insane.
it's a lot, man.
So I almost feel like, and like content creators, like they're plus galore. Like,
you reckon there's going to be one guy in the future that just buys all of them and starts
And does
one
what?
social media?
I don't know. I just think that
Monopolizes the whole thing.
choice is always a good thing, right? But it is until it isn't, right? It's overwhelming, right?
It is overwhelming.
It really
There's a lot, man.
does get overwhelming
Like,
at the moment.
We're talking overwhelming. Imagine like a young person.
Yeah.
Like that's a lot. There's a lot of things now where you can really. It's all. But at the end of the day, it's all about data. You're giving them your data that they're selling that data somewhere else. That's really what it is, right?
Big data, yeah.
It's the business of data.
It is. All right, you know what? Enough of Elon and Zuck. Something's giving me a headache. Let's move to some sport. I heard that there was some controversy with the cricket man. Usman, everywhere you go, bro. Like, I think you gotta chill down a little bit. What's happening now?
Oh man,
What's the Barmy
rundown-
Army doing?